Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webcast entitled Introducing the New Tribal Early Learning Initiative Collaborative Cohort. I'd like to share a few housekeeping items before we begin. All participants will be in a listen only mode for the duration of this broadcast. If you are participating live with us, you will receive a post event email about 1 day after the event has concluded. Within that post event email, there will be a link for you to download the slides as well as the certificate of attendance. The recording of this event will be available on demand, and you can access the recording by using the registration link that was used to register for our event today. Closed captions are available during today's event. You can turn those captions on or off by clicking on the CC button near the bottom of your screen. If you would like to ask a question, please use the Q&A panel to submit those questions. The panelists will work to review and respond to questions posed in the Q&A panel, but they might not get to all of them during our time together today. Any unanswered questions will be used to inform future materials. It is now my pleasure to turn the floor over to the Director of the Tribal Early Childhood Division in the Office of Early Childhood Development, Moshimi Beltangati. Moshimi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Glenna. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on the Tribal Early Learning Initiative. We're really excited to share this new opportunity for early childhood programs. Thank you for being here today. We're really excited to be with you all and look forward to sharing information and hearing your questions. Next slide. So today we will have opening remarks from our ACF leadership. Then we'll take some time to share about what the Tribal Early Learning Initiative is. We will share about previous TELI efforts and give you a sense of the types of things that people have done. We're really excited today to have a couple current TELI Collaborative participants to share about their successes and what they've learned. Then we'll share about the new opportunity for TELI that we are hoping that you'll be part of. We'll also talk about how to apply for this new opportunity and then share next steps. Next slide. So it would be great if people could put in their name and the tribe or organization that you're with into the chat so that we have a sense of who is here today. We're just, as I said, really excited to have you and would love to get a sense of who all has joined us. All right, next slide. So I'm really excited today to welcome our Acting Associate Deputy Assistant Secretary for Early Childhood Development at the Administration for Children and Families, Sam Agner-Chawarji. Sam plays a really important role in overseeing our three offices, the Office of Early Childhood Development, the Office of Head Start, and the Office of Child Care here at ACF. Before taking her current role, Sam was a fellow at the Bipartisan Policy Center and the commissioner of the Massachusetts Department for Early Education and Care. She also held positions at the City of Chicago Office of Mayor Rahm Emanuel and the Ounce of Prevention Fund. Sam received a Bachelor of Arts degree from Smith College and a Master of Social Work and a Master's of Public Policy from the University of Chicago. Sam, welcome.
Thank you so much, Moshimi, and good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us today. As Moshimi said, we are just so thrilled to have you all here to learn about this new opportunity. I am Sam Agner-Chawarji. I'm the Acting Associate Deputy Assistant Secretary for Early Childhood Development at ACF. And as Moshimi referenced, this office oversees the Office Head Start, Child Care and Development Fund, and the Tribal Home Visiting Programs. Across our office, we partner with more than 530 tribes and tribal organizations to provide federal funding and support for their early childhood programs. It is such a privilege to join tribal early childhood program administrators and tribal leaders to share this very exciting opportunity with you. And we are grateful for your partnership and really thank you for taking the time today to learn about this new Tribal Early Learning Initiative, or what we call TELI opportunity. One of our biggest priorities at ECD is to make sure our federal operations are more efficient and responsive to communities across the country. That means breaking down silos and improving program alignment, collaboration, and partnerships to ensure that children and families and program leaders get the supports they need to collaborate across funding streams. We've heard from tribal leaders and program administrators for many years that support for this kind of collaboration and program alignment offered through TELI is extremely helpful. Since 2012, ACF has worked intensively with tribes that both have AIAN Head Start, that have tribal CCDF funds, or tribal home visiting programs to really carry out TELI projects that help align across those funding streams. Through 3 cohorts of TELI, ACF has successfully partnered with tribal communities to coordinate these services and build stronger early childhood systems to improve efficiencies, streamline your services, and be more responsive to the needs of young children and families living in tribal communities. We're excited today to launch another cohort of TELI to respond to requests from tribal leaders and tribal early childhood programs eager to participate. We look forward to supporting more tribes as you build stronger early childhood systems to support children and families you serve. This is an important way that we can support you to innovate and to focus on the types of activities that will truly improve outcomes for children and families. This new round of Tribal Early Learning Initiative will also provide an opportunity for us to work with Secretary Kennedy's goal to make America healthy again. And we'll be adding a new focus on facilitating Native children's and families' access to healthy and nutritious foods, including traditional foods, in early childhood, community, and home settings. You are the leaders who know best what your communities need, just as families know best what their children need. I hope that you will take advantage of this opportunity and the flexibility and support that we are offering so that you can deliver meaningful outcomes for children and shape early childhood systems that meet the needs of your communities, children, and families. As in past cohorts of TELI, we will continue to respect each tribe's sovereignty and self-determination and decisions to carry out and implement your unique TELI projects to strengthen the early childhood systems in your communities according to your unique cultures, traditions, and priorities. We hope that you'll thoughtfully consider applying to be part of this upcoming TELI cohort, and we very much look forward to working with you. Tribal early childhood programs are vital for nurturing the next generation, strengthening families, and building a strong future for us all. We're grateful for the many ways tribal communities provide care, resources, and compassion to the children and families you serve. Thank you again for all of you for being here today and for considering an application to the TELI project. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Moshmi to get started so you can hear more about the TELI initiative itself. Thank you. Oh, Moshmi, I think you're on mute.
Hi, so sorry about that. So before we get started, we wanted to give you all give a chance so that we can get a sense of who all is here, and specifically what different types of programs are represented. So we're going to ask Glenna to put up a poll that'll give you an opportunity to share what types of programs or what program you represent. So let's take a couple of minutes to allow people to respond to this poll. How are we doing, Glenna?
Looks good. We have answers rolling in, and so far we have about 73 responses.
All right. Maybe give it another 15 seconds and then we'll see the results. All right, thank you, Glenna. So it looks like we have a lot of Head Start programs joining today. Really excited to have you here. A number of tribal CCF programs and some tribal home visiting programs, as well as some other tribally operated early childhood programs. So really excited to see you here, and then many others. So I'm curious who the others are, and if you want to put in the chat where you're coming from, what kind of program you represent. We'd love to hear that, and then also welcome our colleagues from tribal departments of education and from healthcare providers. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Kimber Olson, who's part of our team at the Office of Early Childhood Development, to share more about what a TELI is.
Thanks
Kimber?
so much, Moshimi. I appreciate that. Hi, I'm Kimber. I'm one of the TELI co-coordinators, and I want to share with you what a Tribal Early Learning Initiative is, and why. Why should we look at developing an early learning system? Traditionally, our our um, our tribal communities have been holistic, but in the recent past, childcare programs have operated in silos. They have different funding sources, different standards, different regulations and rules, and they sometimes have conflicting policies. And so thinking about how to create a system can be really difficult for people on the ground. Really thinking about how can we, for instance, braid funds, and this results in inconsistent coordination of services, which can really make things difficult for families. When they're applying for programs, maybe they have a child that is attending both Head Start and a child care program, and that requires multiple applications. So what we're providing and hoping that you'll engage with us about is really an opportunity for all tribal early childhood partners to break down those silos, whether they're real, um, uh, um, I just lost the word. So both real and perceived barriers to the breaking down those silos. We want to help you look at a well-aligned, seamless, integrated, collaborative planning approach where you can develop your own early childhood system, including whomever you might want to include. In addition to your early childhood programs such as Head Start, childcare, and tribal home visiting. We definitely want you to include whoever else is serving children and families. This will help to support tribes and communities to coordinate those programs, to create that seamless, coordinated system, and to raise the quality of services to children and families, to break down those barriers, and also really to provide a better service to families and children, especially when they are looking at multiple applications or trying to really navigate these systems that can be pretty complex. And now we have two polls. This first one, Glenna, if you wouldn't mind putting up. We're interested to know whether you currently partner with any early childhood programs in your community. So for this one, you can click all that apply. Glenna, how are we doing on that response rate?
So far, we've had about 25%, and answers are still rolling in.
Great. Thanks everybody for participating in this. I actually am really excited to see what your answers are. Maybe give it a couple more seconds and then let's see what the results are, Glenna.
Sounds good. We still have some responses rolling in.
Excellent. Excellent.
Let's see.
This one might
They
take a
are,
little longer because there's multiple options.
yeah. All right. Looks like they've slowed down a bit. I'm happy to share those results.
Great. Great. So it looks like people are partnering. Actually, there's quite a bit of partnership happening here across the board already with Head Start, CCDF programs, tribal home visiting programs, tribally operated early childhood programs across Department of Education and BIE, Indian Health Services. That is great. That's amazing. How cool is that? So one more poll. Really interested to hear about your partnerships and whether they're more formal or informal. So do you have some sort of written agreement in place with the people that you are partnering with and those programs? Or is this more something that is, word of mouth, informal connections, get-togethers? Maybe partnering for training or for family engagement activities. Give it a couple minutes. And when it seems like we've got a good percentage of answers rolling in, Glenna, feel free to put that results page up for us.
All right. Looks like we're at a good point. We're going to end this poll and share the results.
Great. Okay, so about 31% of you are saying that your partnerships are informal. 13% of you do have written agreements in place, and almost half have a mix of informal and formal written agreements. And then a few of you say you're currently not partnering. Great. I really appreciate that. Thanks so much. I am going to turn this over to my colleague, Eva Carter.
Hi, everybody. So glad to see all of you. As you can tell, we can talk about TELI forever, so I'm going to try my best to not talk forever. I am the co-coordinator with Kimber. So we have had 3 TELI efforts, 3 cohorts so far. So we've learned a lot, we've come a long way, and those started in 2012, and the tribes that operated at least 2 of the 3 programs that we've been talking about, Head Start Child Care and Tribal Home Visiting, participated in those. And back then we had some money that went to these tribes that participated in incentive grants. And then the last cohort has been technical assistance. So no grant that you have to apply for or anything like that. But each of your programs, as far as Head Start Child Care and Tribal Home Visiting, all have language in their grants about coordination of services. Child care CCDF programs have quality money that can be spent on these kind of efforts. So you certainly have opportunities to use funds if you need them, and it depends on how you arrange your programs. So the next slide, please. So our first cohorts were listed here: Choctaw Nation, White Earth, Pueblo of San Felipe, and we are very lucky that San Felipe joined us for cohort 3, and you're going to be hearing from Fran in just a little bit. Confederate Tribes of Salish and Kootenai, Cherokee Nation, Intertribal Council of Michigan, Confederate Tribes of Silet Indians, and the Red Cliff Band of Lake Superior. So these folks from the cohort 3 now were invited to submit a statement of interest to participate through their CCDF plans. And this year it's a little different. We are accepting applications from anybody who thinks they might be able to pull these partners together. So we got 8 tribes that we were working with in 6 different states, and 4 of those have tribal home visiting. Other ones have all sorts of different partners, such as nutrition, health, education, a lot of different partners, and they have received technical assistance as part of a peer learning community for 3 years now. We're starting to wind down. This cohort ends in December. So we'll be very sad to see our folks go, but it's been an incredible experience to get to share with them. So the next slide. These are our partners today, the cohort 3. So, and you can see by the little stars, those are the 4 that have tribal home visiting with them, which just makes a very robust system of really trying to align various programs. So we have the Confederate Tribes of the Umatilla Indians up in Oregon, Gila River in Arizona, Santo Domingo Pueblo in New Mexico. We have 2 in Alaska, Bristol Bay Native Association and the Kanaitse Tribe. You're going to hear from Krista from Kanaitse in a little bit. And you're also going to hear from Fran from San Felipe. And then Chickasaw Nation and all the way up at the top in New York, Seneca Nation of Indians. So here's some of the things that our cohort 3 have been working on that have been considered successes that TELI has helped them to get to this point. Braiding Head Starts and CCDF funds to provide full day, full year. You know, that's a goal of a lot of programs, so a child can go into the same facility and not have to trade and be bussed around various places. It's always in the best interest of that child. And one of our cohort partners, Kanaitse, you're going to hear from Krista how that was done. And then the creation of, there's a lot of words here, centralized, user-friendly platform. Basically, what that's saying is the Head Start and child care programs came together with their workforce development folks. This happens to be a 477 program, but they have come together and are almost to the completion in stage of one single application. That is not easy, as you can imagine. But, you know, we have our families filling out multiple applications for different programs. And this is a goal to really see if they can put that all together and make it much more user-friendly. We've been very, very lucky to have been supported by the Early Childhood Funders Collaborative and members of their collaborative that have helped some of our collaboratives with private funds. And then one of our collaboratives also got state funds to help hire a TELI coordinator and do a lot of other things. A lot of these funds are being used with language revitalization, having staff right in the classroom. So that's been an extra little bonus that we had not anticipated and has just been really wonderful. And then one of our collaboratives has partnered with Bay Mills College. And I'm happy to say for them, I'm really happy that every one of their early childhood staff have a degree of some kind, and they only have had 1 turnover in the last year, which just really indicates the difference education can make. And then another one of our collaboratives have partnered with a nonprofit to train Head Start, childcare, and tribal home visiting staff in trauma-informed care. It's called Project Hope, and it's all across all of the early childhood programs in their community. And then Fran also in a little bit is going to tell you, I'm sure, about some of their community engagement events. They've had as many as 600 people attend these events, which really highlight early childhood and give it a place in the community, and have all sorts of outreach and consumer education and health services. So we're really proud of those. We could have a lot more up here, but in the essence of time, we pull some that were highlights. And so we know it works, and we're excited to share that with other communities. So now we're going to hear from, like I mentioned, Krista and Fran. So Krista is with the Knights Indian Tribe in Kenai, Alaska, and Fran is with the San Felipe Pueblo in New Mexico. So they're going to talk with us a little bit about how they got started, who were their teams, what have they learned, what kind of messages would they give to all of you guys who are thinking about developing a TELI of your own. So if Krista and Fran can come on, I'll turn it over to Kimber for our first panel question.
All right. Thank you so much, Eva. Krista and Fran, welcome. So good to have you here with us. Thank you for coming on this webinar with us. I'm going to start with Krista. And I'm wondering, Krista, if you can tell us why you applied to TELI. And you are on mute.
Thanks, Kimber.
Yeah.
We applied to TELI because even though we are all in one department and one kind of division, we're part of the education division in at the Knights Indian Tribe. Our programs that we're serving all the same children were working together at all to figure out what was best for them, to streamline services, to figure out how to best use the funds we were getting. And so we had lots of goals. Our ultimate goal, which Eva said was our big, maybe not our ultimate, but our biggest challenging goal was to figure out how to provide all day early learning services for our families, for at least for the birth to 5-year-old children. And so that, yeah, we had 5 goals and knew that in order to get to that big goal, we all had to work together. And that's why we applied for TELI.
Thank you. Thanks. And Fran, same question. Why did your community apply for TELI?
Hi, everyone. So I think the reason why San Felipe applied is because we, as mentioned earlier, we had been part of TELI through the first cohorts that were available back in the times that it was presented to us. And I think that at that time we did come together as the core group, which is the Head Start, childcare, and tribal home visiting. And we did, create goals, but I think that we really didn't finalize or accomplish a lot of the goals. So I think the reason why we wanted to join this time was that, so we could really come back together and do what was necessary to start, reaching those goals that we had worked on prior.
Thanks, Fran.
So Fran, while we have you, what I noticed you've been saying is a lot of we, not I did this, obviously. And can you tell us a little bit about who the we is? Who are your partners that you brought to the table when you were first starting, and then maybe if you added any, but who makes up your TELI team?
Okay, as I mentioned, the core group was childcare, Head Start, and our tribal home visiting program. And this time around, we decided that we wanted to, reach out to the other programs that are within our community. So we have added quite a few programs to our team. We have the education department. We have our tribal enrollment department. We have the WIC program, family services, and tribal courts. And so I hope I didn't miss someone, but right now I feel like TELI is really huge in our community at this point. There's a lot of support from our tribal administration. So I feel like TELI is just going to continue to grow after this cohort comes to an end. So we're excited about that.
Great, thanks, Fran. And Krista, how about you?
Yeah.
Who do you consider your TELI partners?
Yeah, our partners are people on our education team. That's where we needed to start. And so we started with the administrator of our early learning programs with our education grants, with our education director, the CCDF administrator, and myself, and we worked together. Then we realized that um, nothing was getting done. So we invited some other people into the room and invited some more folks that were more hands-on and some parents into the group as the years went on. Every once in a while, we'd have other people pop in as needed as we were planning things. Outside, so we had IT for a couple meetings. We had accounting in there for a little bit. We had our language folks. So just as needed, we allowed other people in to our meetings and into our space when we needed their expertise to accomplish what we were trying to work on for families.
And Krista, I'm going to stick with Eva's idea of you're already talking. So both you and Eva have alluded to it, but can you tell us a little bit more about your biggest accomplishment as a TELI team and how you got there, challenges?
Yeah, so it's funny because I wrote down that our best accomplishment is actually to figure out how to work together. Like I realized that this was really a lot more about the process and the people than really what we were accomplishing. And once I reframed how I viewed what TELI was and what the purpose was, because I just like to get goals done sometimes and dream big and do all those things and just jump in. But not everybody's like me. And so realizing everybody's gifts and strengths and who they are and what they brought to the team really brought us to the point of being able to get everybody on board with doing all day early learning. Those that have always done and have been doing it for, Head Start for like 20 plus years, it's scary to change. And I'm one that doesn't think change is really scary. And so to remember that every team member is different and everybody brings different gifting was just super important to remember that. But we are kicking off this fall all day early learning for our kids birth to 5, which is super exciting. And it is for the people that are having to change and redo things. It is stressful, and that's where some of it is right now. Is they're 20 days from starting all day services, and so some of the details are stressful right now. And the whole concept at first was stressful. Now it's exciting, but now the details are stressful. So those are some of the challenges, is just allowing people to have their feelings about it and allowing them to be as slow as they need to be. They knew this was the goal from for 3 years, maybe even more, because we didn't know how to do it. So that's why we signed up for TELI to get all the help. But yeah, that's, I think, our biggest accomplishment is obviously getting to open all day early learning services, but the process, I think, because we're all still here, we're all still part of the same team. So learning that, I think, is invaluable for our team and our families as a whole.
Krista, thank you. I love that you shared that because it really is so much about what TELI is. It's relationship building, and it's recognizing that the way we do things may not be the way other people do things. The process, some people are doers and some people are thinkers. So really, you guys really did so much work in getting to where you are, and I so appreciate that you shared that. Thank you. Fran, how about you? What does San Felipe consider their biggest accomplishment through TELI?
I think a lot of it is a lot of what Krista said. We are, as long as we've all been together, we are still learning about how to best work together. But I know that through all of that, I would say that our biggest accomplishment, we have many, but one of the ones would be coming together as the TELI team to be able to, open doors for us to be able to work with our state to request for funds. I think that having that opportunity as the group to request for funding, to be able to have a TELI manager, to be able to have funding, to be able to start our website. It is our TELI website for our community. It also allowed for us to be able to host baby and me and toddler and me Karis classes. And so these are opportunities that I really feel like, if had it been one program trying to do something like that, that would have been so difficult. But coming together as the TELI group, I feel like we really thought about what are some of the needs within our community. And I know that language is something that we really want to tackle. So I really enjoy our baby and me and toddler and me Karis classes. And I enjoy being able to have the website, because that will allow for our community to be able to have access to all the early learning programs, be able to provide not provide, be able to have access to each of our applications and have that, the services that they need. So I think that one accomplishment led to so many more. So I'm really happy about that.
That's great. Thanks for sharing, especially how you came together to make an application to the state, which granted you funding for a TELI manager and also Karis language classes for your littlest ones. The website, all of this, really, really impressive. Thanks, Fran.
So Krista, I think you've talked somewhat about the lessons learned and challenges. I think we can never underestimate how difficult it is to bring these partnerships together. Everybody's busy. Everybody has regulations that they're having to deal with and crisis and everything. So to get people to come together for a meeting is not always easy. So would you want to add anything to what you've already said about just lessons learned?
Yeah, I think like we spent a lot of time, a lot more than I think any of us anticipated, almost at the beginning, reminding everybody why we were doing this, why it was important, why did we have these meetings that pulled everybody away from what they felt was more important at the time. And, you know, just it really felt like starting over every single meeting for a while. And then got into a real rhythm. People that really are in the trenches and really have a lot of day to day fires with families and kids that they need to put out. This would get pushed to the back burner. And so we learned, and it was just because that's what our team needed, but we learned to it was funny. The, the team member that had the most difficulty understanding the importance and remembering why we were doing this and to do we all had homework in between meetings and would never remember to do the homework, actually asked, can we meet more often? Like, I need to meet more often. And so, which was opposite of what I would have thought, because I felt like even how we were meeting and how infrequently we're meeting really felt like that was a burden. But then they asked, can we meet more often? And then actually even asked to have put on everybody's calendar the reminder, on the off weeks, we ended up starting to meet every other week. And on the off weeks, to put on our calendars TELI homework. So everybody kind of had that time carved out every week to be able to do either meet or to kind of do the things, the goals, the different tasks or different research we were trying to do in between meetings. So that was really good. And just to remind everybody, I think we did that every meeting for a long time. What the importance was, why we were doing what we were doing, so we didn't continue to make families work harder for the services and to streamline it for them, and just remind everybody that that was why we were doing what we were doing, and over and over and over and over.
Yeah. And that's so true, because we get so bogged down, with the things that are in front of us. You have to keep reminding ourselves it's that child, it's that family that's in the middle. So Fran, did you have some lessons learned that you'd like to share?
I think for us, the lessons that first would be that we don't always have to agree on everything. It's okay to have disagreements, and there's, different ways of doing things, and just making sure that we all communicate and have follow through, especially with a lot of the big events that we've hosted. Communication is really something that is important, so that, we're able to be on the same page with everyone. So, whatever we're planning, everything goes into place, and everything that's needed. I think, I guess that's just the bigger portion of things that we've learned. I know everybody wants to be a boss, or everybody wants to be the person in charge, but I think just, working together and really communicating was something that, that really worked in the end for us, is just having that understanding of, we all need to make sure that we're all on the same page if we're going to deal with such a big group. And I think at this point, we're really good about communicating. Anything that, is needed, we're always, sending a text or email, or just walking across the hall or wherever. And it's something that just kind of comes natural to us now. So I think we're starting to be good at that. So I think that's a huge lesson that we learned.
Thanks.
So Fran, will you share, if you had an opportunity to send a message to a brand new TELI team just starting at the beginning of their journey, what would you say to them?
I would say don't be afraid, just do it. I think that TELI really opened a lot of, opportunity for us to be able to, work. We thought we were doing the job, but I think that TELI has really shown how much more we can do. And so I would just, encourage everyone, to try it and do it. And, like I said, it opens a lot of doors and creates a lot of partnerships. And, I know it might be scary in the beginning to try to get everyone to come together, but I think in the end, once you get your group together, there's a lot of possibilities that you can, look at as far as how you want to create services for your communities and how you want to improve, on what you already have. And it helps when everyone else, can kind of help you out and see, they might have better ideas or different ideas on how things might work. So I think just taking that chance to do this, TELI is, gives you an opportunity to work with good people. And I think that I'm really glad that we did our part. And I hope that we're able to continue once everything ends in December. We, want to sustain our group so that we can continue to do the good work that everyone is doing. So I would say just do it, try it. It's good.
Thanks, Fran. Yeah, it reminds me of like there's a synergy, right, that is greater than the sum of our parts when we come together.
Mhm.
Thank you. How about you, Krista? What would your message be?
I like what Fran said at the beginning. What Just don't be afraid, just do it. That it is scary to think about, even maybe um, adding things, to our programs. But when you come together as a team and there's all the um, ideas and energy, and the multiple hands make light work, and everybody knows then, oh, this is so important for the work of our families and our children and us as workers, that it makes it seem like adding something else isn't really adding anything else. So I know everybody has too much to do, but when you do it as a group, sometimes it for TELI, for us, for TELI, it felt like it wasn't as hard as it really was to add other things. And then also the perspective, we got reminded of the perspective, a lot of this is just really important, for staff retention or for this is what is best for our kids that we see every day. And to be reminded of those, and Telly does a really good job of that. So I really love too that there's really great support with Telly, with both with the tribes that are there, to hear all of their ideas, or to, when we shared something, we'd be like, oh well, we tried that, but we did it with this way, and then we'd be like, oh well, that will work with us too, let's do that. And so all of that collaboration with each other, and then just getting to meet with the Telly the Telly staff on a regular basis, and them providing both, I talked a lot about process, which isn't like a tangible goal, but they're providing insight and support on that process, but then also the technical support and the TA for all of the hard goals that we had to do, and pointing us in the right direction to find the answers we needed. And so it really makes work more fun and easier, and the better outcome for all of our families and their children. So do it, sign up.
Do it. Kimber, I just wanted to make one more quick point, because you guys have been so successful at this, and that's having the support of your tribal leadership, your tribal council. That has been demonstrated, and we'll learn more about how to apply and having that kind of support. But you guys, from the beginning, have done a really good job of including your tribal leadership and being supported by them. So I just wanted to add that.
All right. Thank you both so much for your thoughts. Man, you made Telly sound so great. Thank
It
you.
is. It is.
Thanks for joining us. All right, I am going to go ahead and turn this over now to Courtney, who's going to talk to us about new Telly opportunities.
Thanks, Kimber.
Sorry.
Can you
Yeah.
hear us? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Courtney O'Connor. I work in the Tribal Early Childhood Division, and I provide support to TELI. It was really wonderful to hear directly from our TELI participants about their experiences and everything that they gained by joining the TELI. And now we're excited to jump into details on the new cohort, what it entails, how to apply, and we'll have time for questions as well. Hopefully. I think we're running a little short on time, so I'll try to move quick so we can get through this. So we're launching our new cohort, and there are 2 different opportunities that you can participate in. Both are completely optional. The TELI network works with a larger number of tribes and is less intensive technical assistance. It's a community focused on resources and support for developing tribal early childhood systems. And then the TELI Collaborative is an intensive 3-year technical assistance opportunity where you would receive support in designing and executing your TELI project. The TELI Collaborative is not a grant, and it will take place from January 2026 to December 2028. We will share a little bit more about the TELI Collaborative in the next slide. Okay, so here is a little bit more about what the TELI Collaborative is. Up to 8 tribes will receive intensive TA support as part of a peer learning community. And we will continue to respect each tribe's sovereignty and decisions to carry out and implement their unique priorities to strengthen the early childhood system in their community. This is a very important and core value of TELI that we will be upholding in this cohort. In the upcoming cohort, there will be an additional focus on facilitating Native children and families access to healthy and nutritious foods, including traditional foods in early childhood, community, and home settings. TELI teams should include at least 1 ACF ECD program partner, so Head Start, childcare, or Tribal McPhee, but ideally more than 1, so we can really work on that cross-program systems building. And TELI teams in this cohort should include at least 1 partner focused on nutrition and/or children's overall healthy development. This new element of TELI is flexible in terms of what kind of nutrition partnership you might choose. So you can develop an internal and/or external partnership with programs or offices such as WIC, a local nonprofit, IHS, tribal healthcare, a community garden, or a similar entity in your community. And now I will hand it over to Kimber to share more about the kinds of technical assistance provided and what it means for this new cohort to have an additional focus on nutrition.
Thanks, Courtney. So the 8 tribes that work more closely and receive that more intensive technical assistance really are going to be part of an ongoing group of community support with one another. So they'll learn from one another. We are not seeing ourselves as the experts. We really include all of you as the experts, and know that you'll learn just as much from one another as from us, probably more. However, we will be providing technical assistance to look at developing systems. And those systems can include health and nutrition services, programs, and partnerships. You'll also receive direct support from your federal staff and decision makers across the ACF programs. So we'll be including your federal partners with Head Start, your federal partners from childcare, federal partners from tribal home visiting. We'll also have periodic meetings, and those are really meant to establish and to maintain the learning collaborative. So those will be monthly virtual gatherings with information and opportunities for peer networking, as well as opportunities to work as a TELI team on those specific learning outcomes during each of those virtual gatherings. You'll also receive a site visit from your ACF staff representing the relevant programs that are participating in your TELI Collaborative. So we're really excited to get to work with you and to be able to provide all of these different technical assistance services. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Courtney. Oh, actually, I'm going to keep talking.
I'm happy to do it.
Feel free to jump in, Courtney, but
Okay.
we really want to share a little bit more about this additional focus on nutrition. So this cohort is the first cohort that will be focusing on nutrition. And so this really can be up to the tribal community in terms of how you include this. You might include healthcare providers, local farms, cultural departments. You might look at how traditional foods are being shared in your early childhood programs or with families, or how they're bringing that information or elders are bringing that information in to your childcare settings. You might provide education in early childhood settings or to the community around healthy eating and nutrition, perhaps ways of movement. You could integrate local, culturally relevant or traditional foods and activities around those traditional foods, perhaps looking at a seasonal way of sharing and teaching about foods. And you can also engage family and culture and community members and elders, knowledge keepers in any kind of nutritional education, gardening, and other kinds of activities, really meant to build cultural connections as well as to promote those healthy lifestyle habits. And now I'm going to turn this over to Moshimi.
Hi. So hopefully you got a good sense of what TELI can accomplish from hearing from our past participants, and also a sense of what we're hoping to achieve with this next cohort and the opportunity that we have here. So hopefully we have some interest here on the webinar, but we did want to share with you how to apply to participate in this next TELI effort. So for those who are interested in participating in the TELI network, which again is a universal technical assistance opportunity, will not be intensive the way the collaborative is. But if you're interested in receiving resources or access to information, you may want to participate in the TELI network. So for tribal CCDF lead agencies, they already had an opportunity to indicate interest in participating in the network through their tribal CCDF plan that they submitted at the beginning of July.
However, other early childhood programs, including Head Start and Tribal Home Visiting and any others, may request participation in the TELI network by contacting our email address, tribalecd@acf.hhs.gov, by October 31st of 2025. So to participate in the TELI Collaborative, which Kimber just shared about, the intensive technical assistance opportunity for up to 8 tribes, we invite you first to visit our website, which we'll put the link in the chat for. Um, there you can find the statement of interest, of which you will ultimately send in to indicate that you're interested in participating. We really encourage you to talk with your tribal leaders and your program partners about whether this might be a good fit for your community. It is so critical from the very beginning to have buy-in from your leadership and from other partners that you bring in, to really make sure you all are wanting to do this, that you're all committed to this, and that this is a good fit for your community. So we really encourage you to take the time to do that between now and October. And then we also encourage you to bring the partners together to respond to the statement of interest, so that you can make sure that what you're submitting really reflects your collective understanding and goals. And then finally, we invite you to submit the statement of interest by October 31st of this year, again, to our email address, which is on the screen. And I just wanted to give an overview of the statement of interest. So again, this is on our website, which I'm putting in the chat. So the statement of interest has 3 parts, and you can see the first page of it here that gives some background on the new TELI opportunity, which we've just reviewed today. And then we ask you to submit 3 things. So first, background, goals, and context. So there's a few questions, I think 6 questions that we ask you to answer, indicating, why you're interested in this opportunity, what you bring to this opportunity, what your partnerships are like, what you hope to accomplish. And what kind of technical assistance that you might be interested in as part of this. Then item 2, we really would like you to share some type of demonstration of support from your tribal or organizational leadership, indicating that this is something that the community really wants and supports. And then finally, we have a statement of commitment from program partners. So this is a document that states up front, that all these partners are committed to working together on the TELI project, that you're all excited about it, and that you intend to partner over the next 3 years. And then there's a space for each partner to sign and indicate name and what their role is in the community. And again, the website here, which I also put in the chat, is where you can find this statement of interest. I know we're at time, but we're happy to answer any questions that you might have. Um, so I know there was a couple questions in the chat. I think Krista responded to one of them. Eva, do you want to add anything about 477? I don't know. Okay, so anyway, yes, we've had a number of tribes that have participated.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Yes, we do have a couple of 477 tribes in our cohort, and our collaborative in Dillingham, Alaska. BBNA is a 477 and just added Head Start this year. And we talked with Annie Shade, their director, yesterday, and she's very open to talk with people or get together and try to answer questions. So we do have some resources if you'd like to reach out. Just let us know.
I think the benefit, even if you're in 477 and you've done brought together your programs, I think the benefit of the TELI is really thinking specifically about your early childhood goals. I know 477 is employment and training and larger kind of employment and training program, but TELI could be an opportunity to really think about what do you want to achieve in the early childhood space, as part of your 477 effort. So we certainly welcome you all to apply. Any other questions? Let's see. Is the community of practice only for tribes? I'm from a government agency in California and is interested in working more closely with tribes in our county. Yeah, this is really focused on tribes. Of course, I think it would be wonderful
for a tribe to come in with a government agency as a partner if they were interested in doing that. As Fran mentioned, they've really developed a very strong partnership with the state of New Mexico Department of Early Care and Education, which has provided financial resources to them as well as just broader supports that the state's able to provide. So I know many of you may have partnerships with the state or county that might be helpful as part of your TELI effort. Any other questions? All right. Kimber, do you mind putting up the last slide where we're just sharing some more information? Next slide. So if you would like to talk with us or have any more questions or just want to discuss, please reach out to us at our email address, tribalecd@acf.hhs.gov, and we'd be happy to talk with you. We have a report on the website, the TELI website, about an earlier cohort of TELI where you can get a sense of the types of things that they engaged in. And then we do have our TELI website, again, where you can find the statement of interest to apply. So thank you so much for being with us today, for being willing to learn about this TELI opportunity. We hope that it's something that will be of interest to you and look forward to receiving your applications, your statements of interest, and of course, any questions you might have. So please reach out to us anytime, and thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.